Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FML FPL. Okay! Welcome to FML FPL Milan.
It's Walsh.
What's happening?
Big pod today, baby.
Big pod all the time. There's 10 game weeks left in the season. There's fucking title race, top 4 race, Europe race, relegation race, doubles, blanks, chips, tits, tots.
That was a good summary of everything.
That's basically everything that I can think of. Yeah, off the top of my head. What's
Fun
new
weekend.
with you?
Yeah. You know, life's good. Everything's chill.
Wild games.
Wild games. A lot of goals.
Whoever wild carded this week is fucking flying.
I feel like that's been a theme of the year. Like whoever does like what most people do each week flies.
Yeah, I mean,
we've had this conversation before, right? Like whoever free hit this week, flying. Like whoever.
Yeah. We have done that. Yeah. Well, they fucking nailed it. I wildcarded on my brother's team, so I know the general consensus of like it was just all the picks. It was just, you know, every like auto pick that people put in basically did really well, and so, you know, they're flying for that reason.
Yeah.
Setting up for the bench boost and just a lot of the doublers return and all that shit.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, a lot of the good picks did good things this weekend.
Yeah.
So you want to start with your team, or start with my team?
The not so good of my team. So I'm on 51 with a hit, so 47. I brought in Jota and Rudiger for Bruno and Soufal. Jota got a 0, so you hate to see that. And he's not getting auto sub for Billy Gilmore first on my bench. I'm down like a fat 21k. All I have left are for the Thursday double games is Captain Rudiger, Jacob Ramsey, who's never going to score a point again, and Dennis, who...
You got a clean sheet point.
Yeah, he got me 3. I mean, could do a lot worse than 3. Yeah, no, he could do a lot worse than 3. You might get 5 for the game week. You know, I just had, you know, Captain Rudiger did the floor thing that we talked about. He got his 6, and he's going to play against Norwich, so solid. You know, Trent 12, everyone has Trent, and Kane really softened the blow for me today with a 13-pointer. Kane
was just so big.
So big. Kane is just on ridiculous fire. He looks so fucking good.
Yeah, he's been playing really well lately.
And everyone else blanked.
The Arsenal blank clean was bad.
I mean, it started with the Dennis goal in the first, 30 seconds. And I was like, oh, here we fucking go. My one chance of a good week gone. And then they were cleaning for a while, and then Cucho, last time I benched Cucho with the bicycle kick, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be your first red for a while.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Happens.
Okay.
It
happens.
So you know, the pod moves, if I stuck to the Friday My Life moves, which was a -8 instead of a 4, but I would have gotten Son and Kulusevski instead of Jota, and I would have benched Dennis. Would have just been massive. What did Kulu get? 10 and Son got 7, I think.
Something like that.
So something 11. Like that.
I think he got a bonus. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be much better shape there. Yeah.
Yeah, you would be. Yeah.
But you know, shit happens. Jota's still good player for the double, etc. So you know.
Yeah, hopefully.
I just hope I don't get fucked too hard by the remaining doubles. I mean,
you're not going to be. You're going to probably be going down. You just want to minimize how much.
Yeah, I just don't want Coutinho, Rafinha, Broya, Adams, Reece. There's a lot of mines. It's definitely a very scary Thursday for me.
Yeah,
for Team Milan. Yeah. What about you?
I'm on 62 right now. Same with you. Brought in Rudiger, captain him. Obviously got rid of Dean. I knew he was riddled before the deadline. Idiots. Haha. Fucking idiots.
No, Dean, Kevin, they keep their first clean in a while.
No, they just cleaned.
Oh, did they just?
Dean just got me a clean recently.
Oh yeah, he did. I forgot that game happened.
I mean, I got Trent points. I got Kevin Hall, Van Dijk points. I have a bunch of guys left, so whatever, it's fun.
Kev 18-pointer, baby.
Yeah, Kev. And before the game, I didn't watch the game. That was like the only game I missed all weekend. But team sheets came out. First thing I said,
no Gundo. It's Kev time.
Kev's gonna haul finally. There we go. Bam, baby. Knew it all along.
He was so good, man.
Yeah, he was good.
My mom loves Kev.
Oh my god.
She was like,
of course Sharon does. Sharon has good taste.
Oh, she does. And she was watching. She's like, yeah, I was watching the first half. Like his face wasn't even red. Usually his face gets so red, and then second half it got really red. And I was like, yeah. Fine today. Still Kev.
Yeah. No, that was actually a very good point by Sharon. He usually is red faced pretty quickly.
Oh, immediately. But United is just
it's too easy.
Very bad. It was too easy. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You're up 2 in the cup, but Luke has 9 doublers left because he bench boosted and took a -16. So
classic scum person who names himself in Discord after a fucking pedophile. So there's no surprise.
Is that true? Wait, what?
His name's Gilfy in the fucking thing.
Oh my god.
His actual name is not Gilfy. He didn't change it.
His name is Luke.
Insane.
Yeah, wow.
We don't need to blast his surname on there, but
everyone's gonna at him. Yeah, his surname is.
Everyone give him a lot of shit.
Yeah. Please do. I'm down 5. I'm just fucked. Unless Jacob Ramsey just does a Coutinho and hauls, that's my only chance of winning.
That's a hilarious joke.
Yeah,
that's the first funny joke. Great, best joke of the pod so far.
Thank you. But should I name the pod that? Unless Jacob Ramsey hauls?
No.
Maybe. It's kind of funny. So we're not going to do the March league updates because there's still 4 games to play, but I can tell you the February mug winners, and there's 5 of them because there's a 3-way tie for 3rd place. So Luke in first place, Luke Barlow, team name, always trust Walsh. 2nd place, Caleb St. Ather. Credit to the boys, which is also us. So we're just getting heavily shouted out in the mug winners, which I love. And then the 3-way tie is Jim Elwerson, aka Drunk, DRNK capitalized, or maybe that means something else that I don't even know. Sam Sitch, aka Cloptimus Prime, and Vincent Bill, aka Conte Ha. Good job by you guys. Yeah. Mugs are check your email.
Yeah, triple tie for the mug record number of mugs being sent out this month.
5 mugs.
Yeah, things at FML FPL LLC over here. Yeah. Alon sends the emails out for the mugs to whomever, right? And then we both share access to the email account. It's the only thing I have actual eyes on that has to do with this podcast. If you're keeping track at all,
the festival and the email.
Yeah, Discord and the email. That's all I have access to. And I just see these like little emails trickling in. Everyone's from Australia. Like, so God. The mugs this month are going to cost us fucking $10,000.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we do the cup, just to afford the mugs.
To afford the mugs. All right.
Yeah, our accountant's going to call us and be like, what the fuck did you do in February? Why do you need $10,000 lotion? Like Johnny Drama shit.
Entourage.
Let's talk about some football.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Should we just start with today because it's fresh, or where do you want to go?
I wanted to start with like the Rudiger Reece sitch.
Oh, let's talk about that
because I feel like that's a more important like FPL thing.
Let's talk about it. So
okay,
yeah, what's on your mind?
Well, I mean, it reminded me so much of I guess we both brought Rudiger in.
Yes.
Right? We saw the press conference before about Reece, like blah, 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 blah. Okay. So leaves you feeling a little bit more hopeful. But from a process standpoint, I mean, we're basically, it's the age-old FPL conundrum of, certainty with a high floor versus uncertainty with a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
And I just, it's like, when do you do A versus B? It's like, each time we look, because then I'm reminded of, okay, well, we had a couple weeks ago, right? Burnley, the only team with a double game week, like 2 games versus 1 game, like blah, blah, blah. But, we didn't go on like Veg, it's like, okay, well, they're a bad team. So, we use the data to help us. But in this one, it was so much more, I feel like, focused because it was the same team, same defense, like same clean sheet. And I like, where do you actually, like, when do you listen to that and when do you not? Like, is it genuinely a fucking mess coin flip, or is there something to be taken from it? 'Cause the one thing I did think of where this has come up in the past, I had like maybe years ago, is whereas like, what kind of manager are you? Like, do you take the -8 or do you play for the floor versus the ceiling? Like, but doing whichever one you are, that you do that consistently, right? Like where... Remember that we had this conversation a long time ago where it's like,
where it's like if you're playing both styles, you're just gonna do poorly because you're gonna get you're gonna do the one thing wrong, and then you're gonna try and be conservative and do that wrong and miss where you would have taken a hit. Yeah, it's like you don't get either benefit almost.
Because essentially what we're conceding, I think, in that is that they are all coin flips, sort of.
Yes.
But if you stick with your method, you'll come out somewhere.
Right. No. I mean, it makes some sense, right? Because if you're constantly taking hits and taking risks, you need the big hauls. You need the massive Reece haul ceilings to account for that. Right. But if you're playing safe and not taking hits and whatever, the floor just keeps you steadily ticking.
Yeah.
But even though it's less like...
So that was just like one thing I thought of. But I had been continually... Like, I feel good about doing the Rudiger. Like, I would have done it again, I think. I mean, it's still, to me, I mean, we were talking about Reece and obviously before the deadline, and he was getting 0 points for actual fun for like many game weeks in a row. I mean, he's gotten obviously a couple goals and he's obviously more explosive than Rudiger just watching them play, but.
Yeah. He plays wing. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough one. I don't know how much you can learn from this type of thing, but I think it's almost just more interesting to just talk about it, right? Because it's like, it's one of the main advantages that wildcard teams had, because there's no question. Like someone tweeted when I posted the lineup, someone tweeted like, I'm surprised neither of you went for Reece. And I wrote back, like, on wildcard, he'd be 100% in both of our teams. There's no question.
Yeah.
Reece, Rudiger, first two names in the wildcard team. No question. And advising everyone to do the same. They're both great picks. It's just, making that 1 week call. I don't know if it's like we got it wrong. I don't know if you play that game 1,000 times. Does Reece's goal that was like, had like 5 Burnley players in between him and the goal, does that get through every time? No, but I don't know. It is what it is, sort of, I don't know if I can learn from that. And our cap's still cleaned. We were saying this whole time, 8-point floor. He still has a ceiling. He gets some goals and some assists. He could get an attacking return of max bones and another clean, and we could be sitting here like, wasn't even that much worse. Then again, Reece could just start the next game and get an attacking return of max bones, and it's like, holy fuck, Reece. Yeah. But I just don't know much else to learn from it. Like, I mean, one thing that I will say is that, like, obviously, Reece cappers are flying, but in your case, your team's still doing well. Like, you're having a really good game week with a Rudiger cap. Like, the week wasn't dependent on if you made that call. The week was, like, we still made a good call, and the week depended on the rest of your team. Does that make sense?
I mean, I don't know. We don't have all the information yet, but, I mean, a lot of people Captain Mo. They're not having fun.
No.
I mean, if you didn't get in Reece, you're not probably having a good time. I don't know. I think it is pretty dependent on Reece. I mean, a lot of people that wildcarded him do own him and didn't cap him, but I mean, he has 18 points. He's going to get, probably
He'll
6
probably
more.
Start again.
I mean, he subbed off early. I mean, and Tuchel had that quote, like, it matters if he plays 65 or 90 or something, because he doesn't chill in games, I guess, or whatever. So, expecting him to start, I mean, he's shat all over Rudiger. For captaincy this game week, and he's going to make the gulf bigger. So, we have to see when that's done, but
we have to
obviously, see. Kane, Kevin, there were some players who did haul, but, Trent, everyone kind of has Trent. I know some people did get rid of Trent, but I don't know.
No, but it was kind of, I mean, I think what we said is still kind of true. Obviously, in my case, where no one returned and I transferred in 0, I'm not going to have a good week. But, like, what we kind of agreed was that we're in a captain the floor guy. because most of the other caps we don't think are good picks. And when you look at who people actually captained, obviously Coutinho came through, Reece came through, but the two, Rafinha was the second most popular captain and Mo was the fourth most popular captain. Yeah. So, we're destroying those teams. Rudiger still has a game to play and it's a banker, So it's like...
Yeah, no, that's true.
And people captain Mount and fucking Jim and stuff like that. And it's just like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
So, I think we still set ourselves up, I think, for a good week and made a good, objectively good transfer in, right? He's sitting on 6 with, at Norwich to play. You can't get better than that. And he's a good
long-term pick.
And he's a good long-term pick.
Yeah, and I mean, it was also a little bit weird because there were so many double game weeks. I guess another thing we could have looked at is should we have gone heavier in, but we weren't transferring. I mean, even for hits and shit, if we did think 2 cleans, I don't know, maybe that's something that we didn't really spend too much time thinking about.
I mean, I think it's team positioning almost in a way. I felt really good starting 5 at the back with 2 of them being Arsenal with Watford. I wasn't I'm hitting out Gabriel for a -8 to get to Reece. Not this week, maybe in the future or some shit. Yeah. But, it's also one of the things that I've also kind of learned from this game week, and a lot of it's probably hindsight, but, the game week 31 my tentative plan of when I'm going to wildcard, how different is it going to be than if you wildcarded this week? And there's of course, there's going to be changes, 3 game weeks or 4 game weeks of data. And there'll be some different picks on the edges and stuff like that. But when it comes to guys like, the Liverpool guys and Rudiger and Reece and the Spurs guys, I don't
think that's fair, though. Because it's, dude, there's an international break. How many games are there?
Of course. And we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But at this moment, it feels like, damn, I'm obviously going to get Rudiger and Reece. They still have unbelievable fixtures for the rest of the season. They're still going to have, I think, another double or two more doubles that are not scheduled yet. It's they're just going to be season-long holds from here on out. So
yeah, they might be. All right, well, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge because there is suddenly a lot of competition at the defense spots. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and right. Kai. How about Kai?
Yeah, that was always going to happen.
Dude, I feel like every good attacking performance Chelsea's put in the last 2 seasons, Kai is essential. He's just the focal point of all of them.
I don't have energy to talk about that again. I'm going to be honest.
Let's not talk about it then.
All right, that was kind of meandery, but I don't know if we got anywhere.
It's just that's the kind of game it is. It's just dice rolls, and there's a lot of luck and randomness, and I don't know. We took all the information we had. I texted my friends who are Chelsea fans. I looked at what Chelsea people were saying on Twitter or whatever. Reece felt extremely risky to me. Yeah. A very decent probability he doesn't start both games. Didn't seem worth it.
Yeah, okay.
I don't really regret it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I also don't regret it. I'm just trying to see if there was something that was unturned because a lot of people did go there. It wasn't that was a rogue shout. A lot of people who had the choice went with him.
Yeah. I wonder what they would say,
Yeah.
And with obviously hindsight, it's hard to get around that, but I wonder what their process was. I wonder what they were thinking because I certainly wasn't. Even on my brother's team, I wildcarded him in. I captained Rudiger.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it.
I agree with you. Yeah, what would have pushed you over to that camp?
Right. I mean, I think if the aforementioned Chelsea friends had texted me back, no, Reece is going to start both, I'd go Reece. I think I might have gone there, but that was no one's take was that. Yeah. Even the most hardcore Chelsea fans were it's really risky. Minutes are sketch.
Yeah.
So,
okay. All right.
Should we talk about today? I feel like it's just fresh and it was such a fucking annihilation. Spurs 5-0 over Everton. We got a bunch of questions. Tio said, is Doc the doubling defender we should all be hitting in this week? Obviously, Tio. Tuna and Rice said, is triple Spurs good now? If so, who are the best 3? Mikey and Can I Get a Hell Yeah? We're both looking at Kane, Kulu, Son or Kane, Kulu, Doc. And then Hemdog said, do we ride out Son into the sunset or push buttons for Kulu and Kane? Kulusevski. He can get it, dude.
Yeah, he's really good.
Oh my God, I love watching him.
Yeah. He's just it's like such a rare combination of a player where he's like so tricky and so skillful on the ball, but his final balls are so good. His decision making is so good.
Decision making is the big one, I think.
Like he doesn't just waste shit. Like everything he does is like, especially from an FPL standpoint, is like his balls and his actions are like meaningful.
Yeah.
He's a great FPL asset. You know,
yeah,
he reminds me of like everything I wish Sancho was, but is not.
Yeah, I feel like usually those kind of players, those wingery types, are like terrible on bones and always try and like take on people individually. He's very unselfish. Like usually guys with that kind of a good touch and dribbling skill are kind of selfish. A Mahrez type or whatever. Like, and yeah, he's just. Today he didn't really come close to scoring, and he just created everything. He had like over 1 XA, like he's just a monster. Yeah, where are you at with Spurs? I mean, Doc is back.
I mean, I am very far, I think, away from what like the meta is after watching them do 5-0 and 4-0, because I feel like I feel like, you know, I have a fucking broken record after talking about the Leeds game, but the Everton plan was basically the same thing that Bielsa did in just like different, like,
but worse.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. They're just like tailor-made, set up to just for this Spurs team to rip them apart. I mean, this is all the Spurs team can really do that we've seen. We see them play Burnley, and you know,
yeah,
we saw how that went.
Yeah.
So when they play teams that have actual, somewhat competent defenses who aren't just spread out, high line, push everyone up into the Spurs half, I don't expect them to score more than 2 goals in like any game. And I expect them to struggle. You know, I mean, they have games against Brighton, West Ham, Newcastle, I think are going to be a tough one for them. Brighton again. At Villa, I don't think it's going to be easy. You know, I think at Man United, they're going to fucking destroy them. I think that's not going to be a competitive game. But I think these games following, even though they on paper look okay, I think they're going to just kind of struggle to create like we saw them kind of do in that Burnley game and that Wolves game, you know, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could just be better because they've got Kulusevski, you know, playing in form, and they have 3 attackers now instead of 2, which they usually have had with Lukash playing. And they're finally not playing their 2, you know, backup wing backs in Royale and Regs anymore. I guess, well, Regs is back now that Sessegnon got hurt, but I mean, Doc's a big deal, you know, but
Doc's a big deal. Yeah. Kulu's a big deal. And Bentancur's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, we haven't seen it.
We haven't seen it.
And Absolutely. So it's still, I still have question marks about that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a really, really fair take. And I think no one's talking about that because everyone gets sort of like high when they see this kind of performance, you know, and it's just like so good and so much quality. But when you watch the goals back, I mean, we were talking about it while it was happening in Discord, is like, Spurs would win the ball back, make one pass, and then there'd be no one pressuring the man on the ball, and just the entire pitch was wide open to pass into. It was like Leeds, like you said, like they weren't even like difficult balls to play. Like it was just like hit into a wide open space, and Son is running, or Kulu's running, or Kane's wide open in the middle of the pitch. It was like, yeah, it's hard to learn much from it. Yeah.
I mean, the only goal that was ridiculous today was that Kane left-footed volley, but
insane.
I mean, but they also had a couple that were as easy as they'll ever see it. I mean, Son had one that he fucked up. I mean, they had, but
Dyer had a point blank header. Berg had a monster chance.
They could have scored 7, but I mean, that's basically. I'm just still a little bit cautious about it. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
And I also don't see this defense as good, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Doc is obviously fun because he's just like a striker. He's definitely looks a lot like he did when he was at Wolves in every FPL team, you know, last game and this game. Can he play 2 games in a week? You know, I mean, it seems like his fitness has been a concern for a while, but
I think Doc's a good pick.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's 4'7".
He's 4'7". He plays, like you said, striker, third forward, fourth forward. Like that's how far forward he is. And I do think the defense is improving. Like I don't think they're not going to clean at the rate of like City and Liverpool and Chelsea, but they're going to clean some of those aforementioned games that you said where the other team's going to park and have really bad attacks. Like they have 2 Brightons coming up. They have a Brentham coming up, whatever it is, even West Ham. Like I could see them cleaning that.
Good. I mean, just by
Romero
nature of
Dyer,
not having Davinson in is like huge.
It's massive, and Hugo's still good. And, so I like Doc almost more than like a Son. Like Son
looked like shit again today.
Yeah, and Kulusevski's just so cheap. It's just like you can't $5.5 million, or what is he, $4.5 million cheaper? Like Kane, Kulu, Doc. If you're gonna triple up, which was a lot of people's question, just even though it's reactionary 100%. To how they played today, I think value wise, it's also just way better.
Yep. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. That would be my triple up as well.
Yeah. The thing with Kane too is like. Kane, Son, I mean, we've been talking about Kane versus Son for like 6 straight years, I feel like. But I just feel like, especially with Son getting subbed early lately, like you'd 1,000,000% captain Kane over Son too, which is a big factor when you're deciding between 2 premiums. So, that's a good one.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Doc is a really good pick. It's very obvious that, they do things with him that Real just, fundamentally cannot do.
Can't do.
My concern is with like Kulusevski and Kane. Like, I don't know. It just feels like it's a lot.
Is it too much?
Looking at it's a double,
for this week, it's fine.
It's fine.
And 30, like if, there's no games.
West Ham, Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, Brentham. I mean, then they get Leicester, Liverpool. They finish with Burnley. They have the derby. It could be good. Could be okay. I need to think more about it. I haven't. Yeah. I still haven't let this performance marinate enough. I think today and seeing them, but it's hard when there are games like this that happen, and which is again similar to with the Leeds, where I struggle to translate when I think that the game state, the opposing team's tactics, like what the other team's doing, is so much, so influential. It's not like I watch the game and I'm like, oh yeah, Spurs were bossing it. They were just like, I'm just like, no, like that's not true. Like it's true, but it's not true, if that makes sense.
I know exactly. I mean, the good thing, the very convenient thing is that we don't have to worry about that for a little, because 29 is a double, so all good picks. And 30, there's like 4 games. So they're still good picks because there's no games, and they're, them and Arsenal are the only good teams playing that week. Right. And then like we'll have more info by the time it's like 31 and people are wildcarding or making, more permanent transfers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
What other games caught your eye?
Well, I think that it's like important to also look at this compared to like Arsenal, right? Because Arsenal have a double. I mean, I think Saka versus Kulusevski is a difficult call. Yeah. Because there's similar price points and, for those reasons. So I thought the Arsenal game was extremely bizarre. I still don't really know what I made of it. It felt like such a non-Woy performance.
Yep.
They were attacking so much more than usual for them. And I don't know, what did you see in that game?
Yeah, it was a non-Woy performance, but it was also weird from the Arsenal perspective because just all their shots just went in.
Yeah. Foster didn't do anything, and he made 1 save. I mean, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, like Arsenal didn't. They had like maybe 1 big chance. Was that first goal, right? That Odegaard goal, like, and every other the other 2 goals were just kind of like first time hit worldies, and they just kind of chilled. And Watford were attacking a lot, like you said, and I didn't really feel like Arsenal dominated the game. They just scored really cool goals.
Yeah, and they kind of just like got through it.
Yeah. Yeah, they just got through it. They just like soldiered on. Eye test wise, obviously Saka looked fucking amazing. Odegaard keeps looking good. Laka's doing good as just a layoff merchant. Martinelli scored a bang. Yeah, that's all he does.
It's remarkable.
It's insane. Martinelli scored a banger. So that's all
which
cool.
He needed.
But
holy shit.
Yeah, he needed. But yeah, again, like it'd be similar to what you were saying from Spurs. They kind of dominated, but they didn't really dominate. And it would have been nicer, and I would have felt better about going with their FPL assets if it was like a 3-0 and they created many big chances.
Yeah, they were
and stuff
not
like
cruising.
That. They were not cruising at all.
I mean, you never felt like the game was in jeopardy, but they were. Yeah, it was very bizarre. The defense was pretty ropey. I don't know what Xhaka was doing. It was definitely one of his worst games that I've seen him play recently, I think.
Cedric's bad.
Really didn't like get hold of the game. Like this was a game where I would have expected him to kind of figure out what was happening and get more control. And I mean, the performance of the two of them was, I think, the biggest concern to me looking at it from an Arsenal standpoint, just because, you know, Watford were moving through them at ease, and this is a relegation zone team. I mean, this is Watford.
Yeah, I mean, they were...
Without Sarr, I mean...
I didn't, like, re-watch I watched the game live. I didn't watch back the highlights, but I feel like none of the defenders really did well, though, to be honest.
White
like,
didn't play. Gabriel was making fouls.
Yeah,
Cedric
Watford had by far the two best chances of the game. You know, one of them they scored, and one was the Dennis miss. But... You know, I mean, it was sketchy from Arsenal.
Maybe it was a little of a trappy kind of game, too. I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been.
They could just turn up and they would win. They would roll this team.
If I had to guess what the game was going to be like before, I would have been like, Watford are barely going to touch the ball. Yeah. Like, you know, usually the way Arsenal play under Arteta is just like possession. A lot of it's, you know, maybe like middle 30, like not, you know, attacking middle that third, much, but just kind of like control the ball. You never touch the ball. Everyone's so good on the ball and good at passing, but that was not this game.
Yeah.
Very much not this game.
You're right. And I mean, looking at their double, they're home Leicester, home Liverpool. So from a defensive standpoint, I mean, it doesn't look good.
I
definitely don't
expect them to clean either game.
No, I mean, you definitely are a long shot to keep it clean in either of those games, especially Leicester look a little like they have a little something going on right now.
Yeah. So, Leicester are okay attacking.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I still do think Saka is a good option, you know, because they do have, you know, two doubles in hand, even though, you know, and then they have a really good run. I mean, they don't have, you know, they have Liverpool, they don't have City again, you know, they do have Chelsea, but, you know, they do have a good run. So it's just kind of awkward, that timing, right? Where their double from a clean sheet standpoint is terrible, but their defensive assets are, you know, have been good and are good. But like,
they're good for the rest of the season after this week.
But like, do you not start them? Do you try and bench them? Like, it depends on where you are in your team, like when you're wild carding or what your team looks like. But I mean, you could probably show me many single game defenders that I would want to start over an Arsenal defender this game.
Which I'm gonna obviously have to look at because I have Gabriel, White, and Rammer. So that's a fucking kind of a
benching
nightmare.
White seems great.
Yeah, it
like
seems totally fine.
He seems like 3 points at best to me is White. Like, probably more like 2, you know?
Yeah, and Hemda was asking, what do you think about Saka and Martinelli? I feel like Saka's just clearly the better one.
It's not close.
Right now.
I mean,
it's,
I mean, we could talk about whatever, but I think it's an interesting, watching Martinelli is like, ever since Laka's really cemented himself into this role and they've been playing in this formation where he hasn't really been fucking around with like the 4-1-4-1 and shit, Martinelli just plays on the fucking touchline. Like, he doesn't really come inside anymore. He hasn't been doing it for a while. And he's just not that good of an FPL pick, like with his position right now. And it's kind of annoying.
I think a big part of it is just how good Saka is also. Not that he takes away from Martinelli, but it's just the fact that they always build up on that side. Yeah,
they do. But at the same time, it's like Martinelli is just doing the width. And he does, even then, though, he doesn't come inside. I mean, because they have no pace with Xhaka. Like, they have no recovery. Like, no one can come over and cover. Like, if he comes inside or if they overload. I mean, they don't overload on the side, like, ever. He's just, sometimes he dribbles in from his side, like, by himself. But for him to get FPL points is just not easy. It's just not easy for him to do.
I mean, his shots were both central, but they're both outside of the box. And
exactly.
Whereas when he was good, they were like center of the box penalty spot.
On 6 yard fucking like striker, poacher spots. He just hasn't been doing that ever since this like identity, this deal has come in. It's just like, they have Odegaard over there closer to the right with Saka, and like that's where they're going. Yeah. Tierney's playing by. I mean, I still think Tierney's just not very good. I mean, I know I'm probably.
I used to like him a lot more. I feel like just hasn't like done shit this season.
He's just like, I feel like he's like Joel Ward. I'm watching like Joel Ward or some shit. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But
I used to rate him pretty high, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so we like Saka. We like defensive assets outside of this game week. I think that's basically where we're at on Arsenal, right?
Yeah, I mean, I also don't think Odegaard's like a disaster. He is really involved. He's 5'5". I wouldn't like. I don't love him. I don't wouldn't be seeking him out. But I mean, if you're in that bracket, I don't know. I mean, I guess Fraser's probably better, but I don't know. He's just someone to consider, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. But then, it's like we just talked about Kulusevski's 0.5 more.
Yeah, no, I know.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I'm sure there are many other better picks than him, but he's definitely...
He's catching the eye because he's still really young, and he basically hadn't done anything noteworthy for FPL, in his first, 12 months of being there or some shit. And all of a sudden, he's like, he's just looking really good. He's doing more and more every week. Maybe he's a next year guy. Maybe he'll just be really underpriced next year, and all the forwards will go up. I could see that.
Yeah, he could be $6 million next year, maybe, depending if he doesn't finish too hot. I mean, he does only have 5 and 3 right now, but if you look back at him, I mean, they all came since game week 14, basically. I mean, he had one return before then, but if you look at game week 14 to 28, he's gotten 7 returns. I mean, that's 1 and 2. It's pretty good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Okay, Ode. Okay, Ode. Putting Norway on the map, baby. What other games? I mean, there was the Villa game. We didn't get any questions about it, but that was insane. And we were way off on that one, right? I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there would be goals, but I thought they would be from both teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no Salisu, obviously.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that is very bad. He's basically played every game for them this season. I mean, he's clearly their best center back. Jack Stevens is getting rolled by Ollie Watkins in the first minute of the game. I'm just like, oh yeah, Jack Stevens plays here.
Yeah, it's very concerning from Southampton's standpoint. I mean, they just had this nice run and then...
They just laid an egg. I mean, I feel like they do this every year. They have several horrible games every year. They have some huge wins every year, and they finish mid-table, and that's FPL,
I don't remember them having this before this Villa game, though. They were on a very long run of playing, and getting amazing results, for 2 months. I feel like they're usually more of 3 good games, 5 bad games, 2 good games, maybe, 6 bad games. They did just have a really long run. So I do wonder how much of it is the Salisu, missing him, just throwing their back line just in complete disarray. But it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't have been that much.
That's what I was gonna say. It's yes, I understand he's their best center back and yada yada, but it looked just so familiar to me on highlights of them being them. That's why I Timo against Southampton, because they're capable of this.
Yeah.
Villa were just running free all day. They could have scored 5. Coutinho had massive
Forster
chances.
made a ton of saves also.
Yeah.
And they gave up 4 goals.
They were free on goal multiple times.
Yeah.
And the ones that ended up going in were the low XG shots at the whatever that tends to happen. But I mean, Ings could have scored. Coutinho could have had a hat trick. Ollie could have scored another. It was just ridiculous over and over again.
Yeah. Yep.
And there were basically no Southampton highlights whatsoever.
Yeah.
They just weren't in the game at all.
I mean, we really didn't talk about Coutinho that much. I mean, considered how many people. Yeah. I mean, just considering how many people are on him and captain him. I mean, do you think that was more just because we didn't own him and their run is so bad after the double that we were whatever?
No, I think it's because they've been so bad at attacking for every game outside the Leeds game since Coutinho's got there. Basically, I think we were just totally thrown off the scent. He had the fucking 20 minutes against Man United, okay. And then every other game except the Leeds game, they were just barely scoring 1 goal, if that.
So why were so many people on him? How come so many people had him?
I don't really know.
Because the fixtures were good?
Yeah, I mean, the fixtures are insane, to be fair. I mean,
home Southampton, though.
Home Southampton's good, not great. It's solid.
It wasn't good before the game started.
it's solid
on everything else that we knew.
But even you just said you expected goals from both teams. Like I still expect them to score, right?
2-2.
But then
I thought it was like a 2-2 game.
And then at Leeds, best fixture in the league. I mean, maybe not with Marsh, but it's at least top three.
Do you think it was just like a people at wildcard, just no brainer? People still had him from before, whatever.
I think both of those things. I think a lot of people still had him. Because we're not that far from the Leeds game, and there were other things that people were doing, and then I think people just kind of were like, trust the player, which is kind of where we were, before they went on that bad run. It was just like, he's just so good. He's Coutinho. He's going to do this shit. And he could have like quadruple returned. It would not have been unfair. So I think we just missed that one.
Yeah, we missed that one.
We missed this one more than the Reece one, right? Because he's going to start both. They're incredible fixtures. We need to just go back to where we were on Coutinho. Back to where he was on the Leeds game and the Man United game. Like, he's going to be free, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And we just missed that.
Yeah. Okay. I think I agree with you. I think we missed that one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
We got some questions about the blank in 30, even though it's not really relevant to us because we're both free hitting. But D-Beck said, for those not planning on free hitting blank week 30, Arsenal and Spurs are the only teams who double and don't blank. Can we talk through the best options from these teams? Is Spurs defensive thing? So we kind of did that already. And then Hardly Boys, I know you're both planning on doing free hit 30, so it doesn't apply to you, but those of us who are not, is it worth to take multiple hits over the next 2 game weeks just to get 11 out? Is there a minimum number of playing guys we should be fine with rolling out if we can't get to 11 without hits?
I don't know. I'm definitely free hitting. I haven't even really thought about it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are the games that are happening?
Wolves Leeds, Villa Ars, Leicester Brentford, and Spurs West Ham.
Yeah, I'm probably free hitting. Okay.
I have like 4 players. Yeah.
I don't think it comes back to, I mean, we do this. This happens every year, right? Getting 6, 10, 9, whatever. If you're taking all these hits, you're throwing points away. I mean, you don't want to get bad players. You're not don't get out your good players for worse players just because they have a game in game week 30. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? They're probably going to blank anyway because most players blank every game week anyway. So I think just stay true to that basic concept of just because, Trent doesn't play, don't get in Kilman for him ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't have you have 0 points from that spot then or whatever,
0 points is a net gain.
Yeah.
Think about it that way.
If you're doing, something like Dennis to someone who play all right, whatever, fine. If it's, you do these little fringe spots or players that are kind of shitty anyway, then, you look at those players, and you focus on them. But, we covered the Spurs and Arsenal ones, but, otherwise I don't think, you should be getting any non-doublers for 29 who play in 30 in 29. I think that's stupid. What are you going to be getting in Leicester players just because they play in game week 30, even though they don't have a good fixture in 29?
Yeah. Just doesn't seem good to me.
No one's doing any of that shit. So, you make your bet in line. If you want to, getting more points in game week 29 with your good team is going to probably be better than fiddling around with your assets in 29 so that you have players in 29 and 30.
Yeah,
exactly. Transfers there versus just trying to maximize your points in 29. Give yourself that cushion so that you don't go down that much. I mean, in 30 or something like that. Yeah, that's kind of where I would go.
Yeah, you have to basically average out the weeks and don't just think of it as 1 week's a good week and 1 week's a bad week, because you can make the bad one way worse if you're taking hits, and then you make 31 even worse than that because you have bad players.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, you have to think about it for a period. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck in that position.
But also, if you have free hit, I think you should just free hit, because you don't want Wolves players, you don't want Leeds players, you don't want Villa players, you don't want Leicester players, you don't want Brentford players, you don't want West Ham players. So just free hit them in and then never see them again.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Any other games you want to focus in on?
Well, my Wolves shout came in.
Let's go.
They looked like the mess that I was saying they were.
I was telling you that they're not going to fucking clean Palace, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that, and that was one thing I was playing around with. If I could, of getting rid of Kilman too.
Yeah.
Because I just
Kilman to Reece. Oh, imagine.
I mean, I was looking at that. I had a -8 with him lined up with Bruno.
Oh, imagine.
But I didn't. The old Palace, like in me, was definitely too strong. I think because I was I was negative on Wolves, but I was negative on us too. It's like a bad job, but
I'm like that, as you know, with Liverpool all the time. Like you'll be like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? They're gonna dominate, and I'm like, kind of sketch, you know?
Yeah. I also wanted to talk to you about Fraser.
Yeah, flying.
I mean, there are certain players I know that are firm, well and truly in my blind spot, and I mean, Fraser, Bournemouth, Edward, like. Like the
memories are flooding back.
Are blaring, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm still watching this fucking guy. Like, he scores off a post, like tap in. Like, okay,
I'm not a believer.
I mean, he's fucking whatever, right? This is Ryan Fraser.
I'm not a believer.
Everyone's fucking jerking off about Fraser. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know people are like saying that like we were wrong with going with Willock over Fraser, and I watched the highlights, and I'm like. I don't know. I'm still not a believer. And maybe we're both just blind to him. But what I see is a player who just like looks down and just kind of lofts balls into the box without looking. And he scores a rebound. That's, not going to happen again. And I'm just like, it's not going to be consistent returns, especially with a striker who can't score. That's like, when him and Callum were flying for those periods where they would have like, 8 good game weeks in a row and people would double up on their assets. Like Callum was a big part of Fraser returning. Yeah. He was finishing the chances. Yeah. And now they have a striker who can't score. Jacob Murphy on the other side. Like St. Max might be back next game, but
insane.
I mean, to be fair, Wood played that ball for Murphy. That was the post that then Fraser scored. Like that was a sick turn ball, and I was happy for Wood. But
that was very Kane of him.
Yeah, it was very Kane, but he's not looking like scoring anytime soon. I don't know. I'm just not a believer. I don't know what else to say.
Right. I'm happy to hear you say that.
They're at Chelsea, at Everton. I mean, at Everton's one of the best fixtures in the league, but at Chelsea they'll probably get nothing, I would guess. So,
he's flagged. Did he get injured?
Who, Fraser?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Got subbed off. I don't know.
Oh, I missed that.
That would be amazing.
And Murphy St. Max. Oh my God. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. All right. Brighton are a mess. Love that. Love to see that.
Brighton are
Potter might be a scam.
It's possible.
I'm starting to actually think about it.
I think he's good and has a lot of potential, but the thing with him that I would be, before he gets a big job, if he ever gets a big job, I would be like, prove to me that you can attack. Like, that's the main thing for me.
You can do more than just possess the ball.
Yes, because it's like, I know their players suck, but like you have to score some goals sometimes.
The thing too about it with him is we know that they miss a lot of their chances because we watch them play and they miss a lot of their chances, but they do not make many chances. They just don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They miss like 2 a game, but those are the only 2 you have.
Right.
So it becomes like that's the story, when the story instead should be actually players that wear Brighton and get paid like they're on Brighton are finishing at exactly the rate you should expect them to finish at.
Right.
Which is kind of what they do. They've been doing,
Right.
They just don't create enough. So that's why they draw 1-1 and lose 1-0 and lose 2. That's why they just fucking lose all the time.
You ready for this? Their goals per 90 are 0.93. And their non-penalty, that's how many goals they score per game. 0.93. Not one. They score less than a goal a game. They score the 4th least goals per game in the league. Their non-penalty XG is 0.99. And that is also 4th worst in the league. The only teams below them are Wolves, Burnley, and Norwich. So they're the 4th worst attacking team in the league. They're below Watford.
And
they're below fucking Brentham, non-penalty.
Yeah. I mean, and when you look at Potter and his resume, this is literally the exact same problem that has been plaguing him since he got there, and he has not done anything about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that says about the
worrying.
manager. I mean, it's a concern,
it's
for all of
a concern. It's a red flag. And that would be like, right. That's your interview right there. It's like, and how he answers those questions would be like, if I'm hiring you or not.
He's going to be like, oh, I'll just play motor every game and he'll
he's
never
just
score.
like, no, I have enough goals in McAllister, Neal, motor.
Because rotating Gross and Lallana and Motor and Neal and Welbeck, these are goal score. Like, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's like,
what the
no.
fucking actual fuck are you doing?
Yeah, Graham, do you think we need a right back? He's like, I could get a Solly March on a good deal. And they're like, well, I don't think that solves our problem, Graham. And he's like, no, trust me. It's all we need.
Speaking of managers, did you see this Laga?
Okay,
he might
tell me about it, because I don't really know what happened and I didn't see it. But people are tweeting me about it and I didn't see it.
I mean, I think it's the beginning of the end for him.
What did he do?
So we dismembered them. It wasn't.
Destroyed.
It was not a game.
Destroyed.
In the post-game press conference, Keanu Hoover is playing like his second start of the season. Semedo's injured or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just in the press conference on blast. My young players think everything should be handed to them, basically. When they look and they see they aren't playing, they don't train hard. And he's like, and he said, like, I have many of them. Like, he's like, I have many young players like this. In the press, I understand that English is not his first language, but it was and suicide.
Did he specifically call out Hoover?
He specifically called him out.
Okay.
It was bad.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think he's not going to work here for much longer, because doing things like this, it's easier to fire one man than a squad, as they say. I don't know. I mean, it was really insane. Like
Palace finally broke him.
Well, it's the other thing too, right? With which we were kind of talking about.
You must have loved that, though.
I loved it. Oh my God. I have loved it. Are you kidding me? I fucking loved it. Because this is the same thing we've been saying all season, is that he's been living on this edge, getting these like insanely lucky,
freaks,
improbable,
inspired results.
3 points. When this should have happened in game week 9 or whatever, like game week 10. Like, this has been coming for so long.
Oh, yeah.
The performances have been so far and fuck away from the points on the board and shit from this team. And, he really lost his fucking shit after this game. It was just like stuff you wouldn't see out of like a high school press conference.
Yeah,
like a high school football coach.
That's a ridiculous thing to throw the young players on there. But yeah, I mean, shout out to...
Right, and the thing too is like, he's probably right?
Oh, I mean, that doesn't even matter. Yeah,
like, it doesn't matter. It's like, how can you be a manager at McDonald's and do this? Like, it's like,
be like, our new hire is, he's not putting in hard enough shifting to throw him under the bus. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's just insane. It's actually insane.
I want to shout out Cole, who made the thumbnail for this episode, because he was texting me and he was like, okay. He's like, what do you think? This is going to be like a really dark episode or like an upbeat? And I was like, I'm doing really shitty, but I'm not going to be that dark. And like, Walsh has Kev. And then I was like, oh, and Palace absolutely destroyed Wolves. So I think Walsh is going to be like buzzing. It's like, called that.
I mean, beating Wolves, beating Leicester, favorite things.
Those are your derbies.
My derbies. Brighton, I'm happy about beating Brighton, but I am more... Wolves and Leicester are more important to me.
Yeah, way more invested in those two for you.
Yeah.
Well, good job by you there. Liverpool. What did you think about the Liverpool game? Because I didn't watch that live. I forgot how weird it is to not watch a game live. Like, I'm so cracked out and ADD about whenever we're on, right? Because I have like my laptop, Discord, Twitter, game. Like, I'm fucking high on many different things happening, and then I'm like quietly at my parents' house. I was upstate, like quietly at my parents' house, like watching the recorded on my laptop, like nothing to like look at. I'm just watching the football. Yeah. What was it like? How'd it go down? What did you think of that game?
I mean, it was an interesting game.
Yeah. West Ham had chances.
Yeah, they had chances. It definitely felt like Liverpool were never gonna lose that game.
Yeah.
Just watching it. I mean, I think, Luis Diaz is a player.
He's fucking good.
There's no two ways about it. Yeah. I mean, for the window that Spurs had to bring in Kulusevski, Bentancur, their biggest window was bringing Luis Diaz to your team by almost getting him and actually putting the fire under Porto's asshole.
Yeah.
But he's really good.
Yeah, he just needs to get his shot better. I was thinking, a
little bit of clinicality, which should come, I expect, because he was banging in for Porto.
He can cut in at will. No one can stop him, and he just hasn't really hit that like curler yet, but he will. I mean, he will.
He's unplayable. Yeah, he really is.
He's really unbelievable.
There's no stopping him, really. It's just about like trying to block it or put him into a position where he might just let it get it sailing or something. But I think as he settles in, he's gonna be insane. Yeah, it felt like it was just an easy, in control game, even though there were a couple of West Ham chances. And I feel like if it did go 1-1, it would have just gone 2-1.
Yeah, I felt like I agree with that. It seemed like when we needed to put the pressure on, there were so many almost chances. Like Mo should have scored. Like we should have. It should have probably been 3-0 before West Ham even really had a chance.
On the field.
Yeah, Mo should have had multiple chances. He also got fouled a lot. I was getting annoyed at that.
That first chance he had that he missed, I could not believe he missed.
It was the first 30 seconds of the game. He was clean through. He just
on his foot. It was that was the most favorite. That was his goal. When I think of a Mo goal, it's that's the goal I think of.
Bent that far corner, it just hits the side netting. It's just
easy.
No, I was I knew beforehand that he wasn't going to score it, and I was still like, oh, this is obviously a goal. I was expecting a goal and then offsides or something. It's because there's no way he's not scoring this. But I know it was maybe a bad time for me to bring in Jota. I mean, shout out to Mane because he's he is just seamlessly I'll play striker. Yeah. And he's just it's a very different role. He's barely on the ball, whereas when he was on the wing, he was on the ball all the fucking time. Yeah. And he just pops up with his shots and his goals and whatever. And so.
Yeah, that was, I think, the one thing I said more than 3 times in Discord was Mane looks fucking good again. He looks right now is this is the best he's looked in 3 years at Liverpool. These last few games since he came back from Africa, he's just I agree with you completely.
Seamlessly adapted to a brand new role. Yeah,
and this is a patently better role for him because the thing that was driving us insane about Mane for all this time really was the giveaways. He just gave the ball away cheaply too much, and now when he's using his movement more and getting on the end of things rather than not, he did do, he did create, progress the ball pretty well many times against West Ham, I thought, but I don't know. There's just something about him. I think that in addition to just his confidence, he's on song right now.
Yeah, he's definitely a confidence player for sure.
Yeah, and he just looks really, really good. And
it's 5 goals in his last 5.
Yeah, it's exciting, watching Mane playing well again because I genuinely feel like it's been so long.
Yeah, I might have fucked up by getting Jota. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I still what my thinking was Bob's out, Jota's still first choice. He'll probably start. Now. Yeah, Bob's close now, and Mane's now a striker out of nowhere. So I'm and Diaz is on fire, and Mo's undroppable. So all of a sudden I'm fuck, when is Jota gonna play?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got him for the double, then you're gonna be wildcarding 31. So if it still is, because the one thing is too, right? We've never really seen someone come into a Klopp team, even let alone in January, but even the fucking summer signing, and come in and start and games in a row. Yeah, he started 4 of the first 5 league games he's been available for. That's insane,
unheard of.
So you're not expecting that, but here we are, and you watch him play, and it's he could have been here for 4 years. The way he plays.
We've also never really seen a Klopp team with depth, so we don't know what rotation's going to be like. That's he subbed Mo off early, that never happens.
Yeah, I mean which was I was very happy to see. He was the worst.
No, it's a good sub, but I just mean that never happens. He never does it. Yeah,
right.
So we'll see. Yeah, it might be a little roulette in the run in, especially with all the other competition. So we'll see. All right. Well, we're gonna try a thing and not really talk about our teams and shit and captains. And when the weeks are normal and we have the Patreon pod on Thursday nights, the Friday My Life pods, we're gonna just do that shit on that pod because we we end up just meandering and being like, oh, we'll talk about it on Thursday. Figure it out on Thursday anyway. So yeah, I guess we're doing that now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of the thinking also is just it's a lot of wasted time. Like we talk about, and then we end up reiterating some of it on Thursday when it applies.
Yeah.
Or or it changes dramatically.
Right.
So yeah, I think we'll start doing that. But I think we could just at least give like who are we capping or whatever.
Right. So what are you looking at right now? Are you just
right
on
now?
Mo?
I'm on Trent.
You're on Trent.
Yeah, I'm on Trent right now.
Why Trent over Mo?
Mo looked like fucking dog shit. Yeah. And these two away fixtures, I just feel like are. I mean, similar to the West Ham game, at Brighton, at Arsenal, don't scream like goals to me.
No.
I think that they're going to be just, tight games with not tons of chances. And I think, Liverpool are going to want to, maybe go up early and hold, just like they did against West Ham. So, I imagine those more like 2-0s than, one of them going, crooked.
Yeah.
And Trent looked incredible. So that's where I'm at there. But, you guys play Inter tomorrow. And we'll talk more about Thursday, but right now, that's what I'm on.
Yeah.
You're on
what do you think? What do you think about Kane for cap? I mean, it's also two aways. It's at Man United, at Brighton, so same at Brighton fixture, but it's they're just playing so well. I'm like a little tempted, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like just like it's like a form thing, right?
Yeah.
And Mo is the obvious one, and he'll be the most capped, and he should be because he's the best, but. It's that's gonna be like the thing. Like, I think we'll spend a lot of time Thursday night talking about like Kane versus Mo versus Trent as like really the only contenders, right?
Probably, yeah.
Like,
and I'm sure people might do like Son or something.
Yeah, I guess if you have Son, it's like similar, but
that's who it's gonna be. It's gonna be down to a
or
Liverpool.
Like Saka punt, but I don't like that.
No, not when they play Liverpool in one of the games. They basically have a single game plus 2 points.
Yeah. So that'll be the tough call, and I haven't really settled yet where I'm there. And then I still have Bowen, so he's gonna go. Probably Kulusevski because they have a double and it's the same price bracket and all that stuff. And then I just have to. I'm gonna have to really like rack my brain what I want to do with Ramsdale, Gabriel, and White because I don't really have a bench to like put someone in. Like I'm not gonna start Ramsey single game week over one of these guys, but they're all like bad picks this week. Yeah. So and I'm and then I'm free hitting and then I'm wild carding. So maybe I should be considering wild carding this week. If I have that many, like, I already have Bowen, Gab, and White in my lineup. I have Dennis single game week in my lineup. Maybe I should reconsider.
Yeah,
but that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, what's the disadvantage to wildcarding now compared to 31, other than just the time? I mean, in terms of the players or the teams that you're looking at getting players from.
Probably nothing. I mean, right? There's
not much.
Not much.
You're gonna want some Spurs guys. You're gonna want triple Liverpool, and you wouldn't have Jota.
I'm gonna get Chelsea guys. They're home Newcastle.
You don't want this much Arsenal exposure.
No. Yeah, I'm still gonna get rid of the same guys too, right? Like, I don't want Ramsey. I don't want Cucho. I don't want Dennis. I don't want Bowen.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this should be wild card now.
Shit. I haven't even thought about that until the second. Fuck.
I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense not to do it now.
Yeah, like
it kind of doesn't make sense to wait.
Yeah, I'm not really like set up for a good game week.
No, you're not. You're set up to scramble.
I'm set up to take hits and scramble and probably get another red and then free hit and then wild card.
Yeah.
Whereas I could just wild card now.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to think about that.
I think wild card looks like should be on right now.
Oh my God. We just potted for an hour and then we're like, you should wild card. Fuck.
Well, that's why we pot again on Thursday.
Yeah, that's why we go again on Thursday. All right. Well, I'll start tinkering, I guess. Here we go.
Yeah, you should definitely start tinkering.
Okay. Thursday I'll be heavily tinkered and I'll see where I'm at.
All right, cool.
What about you? What are you looking at moves wise and shit?
I have no clue. I mean, something I could do if I want to get saucy is I could do Dennis, Bruno, and Kilman to the aforementioned Spurs trio of Kulu, Kane, and Doc.
Oh my God. And plus, that's good. Those are all -2s. You're only taking a -6. I mean, dude, let's go.
Yeah, I could do that.
That sounds really fun.
But I don't know. I might not. I haven't really. I still was like thinking about Bruno and shit. I don't know. I definitely don't want Kilman anymore. I feel like I fucking betrayed myself.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We all do
Dennis,
that all the time.
I mean, Dennis is very exhausting.
He was actually pretty good, I thought.
He was very good. I thought he was fucking amazing. He fell away in the second half of the game, but I thought it was one of the better performances from him I've seen.
He's just a very good player, but it's still like he's still a Watford player, and he just gets so many 2-pointers. It's just tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, and having him is tough. So I have to think some more, but I haven't thought too much about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out.
I just have no room to wiggle if I want to do that trio. I have 0 in the bank if I want to do that, and like
so
I think all my guys are
tomorrow probably.
I have to check prices. I mean, it might be something like that. So I mean, I could give a fuck. I'm doing so badly this year anyway. Like if I want to do it, and if I look at it tomorrow and I'm like, and then I'll just click it. But
do it. Yeah, I'd love it. All right, bro. Anus Subs, we got one new Patreon sign up this week. Philippe Sturas. In there, sup the ass. Slappeth thine ass. Any last words, brother?
See you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Dude, check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL Sports, Patreon.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate, review, dude!